Let me check my email. Oh, I dropped news. How interesting. Wonder what stuff they have. Oh, interesting. A watch. $40. Looks pretty spiffy. Let me just check on that and see. Multifunctional fitness watch. Interesting. Ooh, all these features. Hello, and welcome to Let's Get Lost. On this episode, I'll be reviewing a watch that has some interesting features that I want to check out. I saw the watch on iDropNews.com, and it had several features that I found interesting. First was standard heart rate monitor. That's pretty common. Second was O2 saturation level. More interesting. And third was blood pressure monitoring. Now, the third one, blood pressure monitoring, is interesting because that's tricky to get right. But also, it's like another thing I liked about the watch was, at least the way it looked, it kind of looked like an Apple Watch. For its price range, $40, I wasn't expecting too much, but it had a whole list of features, including the ability to view messages on your watch, so you don't have to take your phone out at a time. Ordered it, and I got it here, and I'm ready to get going. And here it is. What we got is a Smart Bracelet, heart rate, blood pressure. Comes in a nice little box, and it looks pretty good. So let's open it up. And we have the manual, which is cool. We have the actual watch, so that's nifty. And we have the power charger, which is an interesting thing. Okay, let's get those out of the way. Let's plug in the watch, not the watch adapter. Got a laptop over here, and plug it in. So it's clamp on, and there's two things on the back. Interesting band design. Interesting watch design. I think it looks pretty good. So there's power ports on the back. Plug it in. And first test, telling you plug it in. Yes, okay. Plug it in, and it shows charging. So while we're waiting, let's go through the manual. The manual, actually, it's pretty thick, but actually most of this is other languages, so that's actually nice to see. Charging, first thing it says here is, careful about plugging into something that can supply more than 2 amps of current. It says you could damage your watch. Bracelet app, so it has a code for that. It says open the app, functions, so it goes through the functions, which we'll go in a bit. And some frequently asked questions. Electronic monitoring product, which is not used as medical treatment. Data is only for reference only. Don't wear this device while bathing or swimming for a long time. That's interesting. This is IPv6-7 rated, I think, which protects from dust and water up to, I think, 6 meters. Let's get the app going. So it's a Hero Band 3 app, and it's pretty simple, I think, to get going. Click Add a Device. I don't know if I can do this while it's charging. If I can't, I'll unplug it and check that way. The one thing the manual does say, though, if you're having trouble pairing the device, because this is over Bluetooth, try toggling on and off the Bluetooth. And, oh, there it is. Let's go add it. Okay, so there we go. We got that. And would you like, yes, I would like to pair. Thank you very much. Would you allow on your, sure, why not? We can change that later. Basic watch functionality is short push goes between applications, and long push enters the app. This is the main screen. It shows the MAC address. So you can easily check to make sure that this is the watch you're looking for. So that's the main application. The next thing is like your activity monitor. So it's got sleep, energy, or steps. Sleep, exercise, and steps. I would not consider that useful, but others might. It's all in one thing. After that this is the heartbeat, blood pressure, O2 saturation. This is your exercise thing. So a long press enters the exercise. You can select the one you want and then start it. So I'll record that. Weather. So that's paired with the phone. So that messaging, you'll see messages on here. Camera, you can control basic camera from here. Player, which you can control music a little bit on the phone. Settings, and that's it. Let me play with this for a few days and I'll come back and see how this goes. It's been about a week. It's been a few days since I've started this. My overall impressions on the watch. The watch itself, for the most part, does what is advertised. The things I had problems with are the actual measurement tools that it provided. The blood pressure one is always going to be inaccurate when taken from the wrist, particularly with light sensors. There's no way to get a good measurement from doing that currently. If you want an accurate blood pressure, use the blood pressure cuff. The O2 saturation, I didn't go up to any high altitudes, so I didn't really see my blood pressure drop enough to get a good feeling of how close it was. So there's that. And it's like if you're actually in higher altitudes, maybe that's something that is important to you. The heart rate monitor, I found disappointing. Out of all three of them, I would expect this to be the most accurate. However, when I was working out, frequently what would happen is I would see it go from like 75 to 110, back to 80, back to 95, down to 75 or something. Basically, it didn't really track or do an accurate job of measuring heartbeat when you were exercising. And for that kind of situation, I really do want to know what my heart rate is when I'm exercising at all times. Another thing I saw was like when you're in the exercise app, sometimes I would like to know what my blood pressure is. This is useful to know. It's like because when you exercise, your blood pressure goes up. If it goes up too much, you probably want to slow down and, take a breather or something like that. But when you're in the actual exercise app, which measures like time and energy expended, you can't do any other thing on that watch. It locks you out, period. So I didn't like that at all. The other thing that I found surprising was the weather app. I frequently couldn't get into it. And like right now, it's working fine. But all of this week, I maybe saw it once, even when I cycled through it. The messaging app worked well, and the other apps I really, really did not use. So part of the problems I also had were using the app on the phone. It records the data. You can't see like old data. So that's one thing I really didn't like about it. As far as like other stuff I really didn't like was all this data could be sent to the iPhone Health app. What is actually sent over is the steps you've taken that day, the distance you walked or ran or whatever, and the calories or energy you burned. And those three things are the only things sent over. I have another watch that is actually cheaper than this watch, and it sends more information over than that. And that information inside the Health app is really, really nice. It's useful to keep track of stuff. Other things I didn't like about the app, and these are buggy, like the messaging was kind of weird. If I got a message on the phone or some sort of alarm that got transmitted over to the watch, what would happen until I acknowledged it on the phone is that it would keep showing up on the watch. And I found that kind of annoying because like if I got one message from a friend and it showed up 3 times on the watch, even though, or actually more times than that, even though I deleted it from the watch. Another thing about the messaging is that you can configure some applications not to send messages to the watch. Sometimes that information gets lost. For example, I have a Twitter account that I have on my my phone, and I was just getting tons and tons of Twitter messages. And I said, okay, I don't want to get it on the watch anymore. So I went to this app, changed that message to off, and it stopped getting it. And then it's like I went to bed, went to sleep, and about 6 o'clock, just a little bit before I woke up, it started going off crazy. And it's like, looked on the phone, it said, oh yeah, you disabled it, but my watch was getting it. It's like, okay, that's not good. So somewhere it gets lost. So overall, it depends on how you feel about this. For me, it's like what I spend. I mean, I got the watch now. I spent the money on the watch. I'm going to probably use it to keep track of time and steps and stuff like that because that's still useful. I would probably say not to get the watch again unless you really don't care about seeing that kind of stuff. $40 isn't a big expenditure on the watch. So it's like, if it turns out you totally hate it, you haven't lost much money. I mean, it's like, it's much cheaper than buying an iPhone, iWatch for like $300 or $400. So much cheaper. Yeah. So it's like, for me personally, I wouldn't get this again. But that's just me. If you are looking at this watch, hopefully there is some information that you find useful. If you enjoyed this review, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to my channel. Click the bell icon to get notifications of new videos. And as always, I'll catch you later. Bye.